Okay, welcome to our third Hall of Fame ceremony. Tonight's ceremony will include the 2021 and 2022 induction classes. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy tonight's event. Due to the pandemic, we did not have a ceremony in 2020 or 2021. In 2020, we did not select a class. From the 2021 class, we will honor 10 athletes, 1 coach, 1 team, and 1 friend of Bret Harte Athletics. For 2022, we will honor 6 athletes, 1 coach, 1 team, and 1 friend. We will start the process again in January with nominations. And then come up with our group again for the following year. Any person from the Bret Harte community could nominate an athlete, coach, team, or friend of Bret Harte Athletics. After we receive the nominations, we will then have the committee vote to see which nominees would become candidates. After that, another committee will vote to see which candidates would then be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The athletes, coaches, teams, and friends of Bret Harte Athletics that are being inducted here tonight have been chosen for what they did for Bret Harte High School. Starting next year, we will begin holding the ceremony every other year. There will still be a class of 2023 which will be voted upon next spring, but the ceremony won't be until the following year, and we will include the class of 2024. Before we get started, I would like to thank all of the people who have helped with the different committees. The screening committee and the voting committee who found out that this is a very difficult process. Also, thanks to this year's gold, silver, and bronze sponsors, which are listed in the program. Our gold sponsors are Big Trees Market, Signal Service, and Young's Payless IGA. Our silver sponsors are Bales Construction, Clark Pest Control, Warren and Cheryl Harbor, the Harper family, Ron and Diana Lewis, Murphy's Pizza Company. The bronze sponsors are Lake Tulloch Lions Club and Darlene Sanders and family. I would also like to thank all the people who have helped with tonight's dinner, Cody and Tyra Dragmanovich for the wonderful dinner. Elisa Fallendorf and her home ec students for the desserts. Mrs. Phillips and the Bret Harte FFA Floriculture team for the beautiful floral arrangements. Amber Pape for photography. The Calaveras County Archives and Guy Dossie of the Calaveras Enterprise for allowing us to go through their old newspapers, which helps us with the memory boards. The boys' golf program for setup, dinner assistance, and tonight's breakdown. And David Dugan for tonight's light, sound, and video. My final thank you goes to Eilena Grisella, who has done all of the organizing for the event. She has put in many hours making sure that tonight would be special for all. And without her help, this event would not be happening, and that's for sure. Now I'd like to introduce Bret Harte's athletic director, Brian Barnett, who will help with tonight's presentation. And now for the inductions. I would like to introduce our master of ceremonies for tonight's festivity, Fox 40 reporter and weekend anchor, Eric Rucker.
Watch out, the mic's still hot. Okay, keep going. How's everybody doing tonight? Well? All right, so my father, Jerry, mentioned Eilena. There are many different people who make this event happen tonight. Can we, first of all, give a round of applause for my dad, Jerry? It takes somebody extremely nerdy in history, sports, and high school athletics to be able to dedicate time like he is, so thank you. All right, let's go. Welcome to the 2022 Bret Harte Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony tonight. Our history goes back to 1905 when Bret Harte opened its doors. Our athletic program dates back 112 years and has since had considerable achievements, such as 1 state championship, 2 state titles, 39 Sac Joaquin section championships, 39 section titles, 124 mother load league titles, and hundreds of league championships. We have a hell of a history, people. Tonight, we will be honoring 21 individuals and 2 teams made up of Bret Harte and league record holders, champions, longtime coaches, and dedicated supporters with their induction into the Bret Harte Athletic Hall of Fame. The inductees will be broken up into 5 groups, so that's how we're going to do it, one group at a time. We will begin with the first 3 groups, followed by an intermission, and we'll conclude the event with the last couple of groups. You guys ready to get started? Good, because I can only read so fast. I want to invite our first group of inductees tonight. This we're calling Group 1, and that includes Steve Barry, class of 1976. Bob and Darlene Sanders, friends of Bret Harte, accompanied by Tom Ising. Matarola, class of 2010. Daniel Shin Hardcastle, class of 1997. And Jerry Middleton, class of 1982. Can everybody please come on up? Yep. If you thought my reading was fantastic 90 seconds ago, check this out. Here we go, Group 1, leading us off is Steve Barry, class of 1976. One more round of applause, please. Steve competed in varsity football and basketball his junior and senior years. He also participated on the track team his sophomore and junior years, and varsity tennis his freshman year while at Bret Harte. In football, during Steve's senior year, he was voted the MLL Outstanding Back of the Year. He was also the first team quarterback on a team that was part of a 3-way tie for the league championship. The football highlight of his senior year was defeating Calaveras High School after 10 years of straight defeats. Understood. He was on the Lions Club All-Northern California team, as well as being named to the National Prep All-American. In basketball, Steve started for the undefeated freshman team and was a second-team All-League player his junior year and the league most valuable player his senior year. During that season, Steve averaged 12.9 points per game and 12.5 rebounds per game. He is also only one of 4 players to average a double-double in their varsity career. He was also named to the Medium School's first-team Superior California All-Star basketball team. That's quite an achievement. After graduating from Bret Harte, Steve attended San Joaquin Delta College in Stockton and played 2 years as quarterback for the Delta Mustangs. After Delta College, Steve attended and graduated with a Bachelor of Architecture degree from California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo. After working locally for an architectural firm in Arnold, Steve moved to San Diego and worked for an architectural firm for 11 years before moving to Arizona, where he has worked for a national home builder and developer and architectural firm and local residential developer. Steve works as a senior vice president and in-house architect designing homes for a developer of master plan communities and active adults. He has been recognized locally in the Phoenix market and nationally with MAME and NHBA 55 Plus awards for his home designs. Before taking his career position, Steve worked in the EAU for a development company of the royal family in Abu Dhabi from 2010 to 2012. So the man gets around a little bit, yeah. Welcome home. While in San Diego, Steve has served as president of his local homeowners association at University Canyon, and again as president of the McDowell Mountain Homeowners Association in Scottsdale. In Arizona, Steve has served as a youth basketball coach for the Paradise Valley YMCA and DC Village Health Club, both located in Scottsdale. He has designed and assisted with construction of an auction playhouse to raise money for the Homemade Project Playhouse. Steve and his wife Barbara of 24 years currently live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and have one son, Ryan, who is in his junior year at Arizona State University. Their daughter, Christina, was married last October and works as a manager with Google in San Francisco. So not a lot of Bing fans here tonight. Am I picking? Okay. Now let's welcome Steve Barry, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Can this microphone be in here?
You can put it wherever you'd like. You can hold it, you can put it in there. Just talking, then you're fine.
Okay. Good evening. Everybody can hear me? All right. Thank you, Eric, for that very kind introduction. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for my acceptance and my brother Glenn, who is here tonight, for nominating me to be considered. I am humbled and honored to be standing here along with the other inductees tonight, as well as the current members of the Bret Harte Athletic Hall of Fame, the athletes, coaches, and friends that are part of the Hall of Fame have truly shaped Bret Harte Athletics over the years into what it is today, and I'm proud to be a part of the select group. I want to thank all of the coaches who looked after me throughout all of the sports I played here at Bret Harte High School. I realized some of the importance of why they coached the way they did at the time, but never the full measure of how they would impact me for years to come in my adult life. Let me give you an example. There was a part of my high school football career that almost didn't happen. I was a scrawny freshman trying out for the JV football team, playing tackle football for the very first time. Practice started a good 2 weeks before school during the summer, and I missed out on a couple weeks of summer vacation. The campus was going through a construction phase at the time. The game field was being built, our practice fields were dirt, and we had a nasty training tool called the hill that led up from the practice field to the grade road for training, conditioning, and a little bit of discipline from time to time. After some 10 days or so of practice, my body had had enough. I was aching top to bottom, my chest was killing me from the form tackling drills that we did, and my size 10 feet were growing into a size 12 in what seemed like overnight. The morning of the next practice, I arrived at what used to be the girls' gym, locker room, where we changed, to tell Coach Floyd I was quitting. All of the coaches were there that morning in the single office, including Coach Clements and the varsity coaches as well. I got my first sentence out that I was quitting, and before anyone said a word, Coach Nate Solomon, who coached the linemen for the varsity team and a family friend, burst out into a John Madden-like eruption. What? Whoa, you can't quit. What's wrong with you? You got to suck it up and be tough. You got to be a leader. People are counting on you. I turned right around and suited up. What Coach Solomon was doing was giving me a reality check and getting me out of my comfort zone. If there was a theme in my high school sports experience, I would say the coaches did a great job of getting me out of my comfort zone to be a better athlete, competitor, and teammate to accomplish all that we did as a team. They taught me the discipline of working hard, putting in the time to train, even if it meant giving up part of my summers, and the needed encouragement and words of encouragement at just the right time. It was a combination of those lessons that I was able to use later as I coached my own children, youth football and basketball teams, but also how I handled myself in business and life and getting out of my comfort zone to accept new jobs, moving to new locations, and accepting new opportunities, even if it was halfway around the world. I would like to call and specifically thank Coach Dwayne Nunito for leading us to our undefeated freshman basketball season. Jerry, I think that record still stands today, maybe, right? I also want to thank Coach Clements for pushing me to train harder and seeing to it that I made that commitment during the summers to be the best I could be as a quarterback. Coach Clements opened the gym early each morning during the summer so I could train countless hours and throw what must have been about 1,000 passes as I rolled out, dropped back, and threw into the hanging wrestling mat from the basketball backboards. That training helped develop my much-needed footwork and arm strength more than I could have imagined. Finally, I want to thank Coach Kathgar, who came aboard as our JV basketball coach, saw us through to my senior year as he moved up to be the varsity basketball coach. The lessons I learned about teamwork on the court and how to physically block out much bigger players to get rebounds and also add a little frustration to those opponents at the same time was invaluable. In closing, I'd like to say that I've never forgotten my roots here at Bret Harte High School and all the lessons I learned that I carry with me to this day. Thank you for making me a part of the Athletic Hall of Fame.
C. Barry, everybody. We would now like to honor Bob and Darlene Sanders, a friend of Bret Harte Athletics. Bob and Darlene Sanders were big supporters of Bret Harte Athletics. Bob was one of the original founders and board members of the AMA. He was also a vice president and president for AMA. Darlene helped start AMA ponytail softball with Bill Fish. Darlene was the commissioner for 17 years. The AMA is an important part of Bret Harte Athletics as a training ground during the athletes' youth. Bob was on the selection committee for the John Provart Award at the Provart Wrestling Tournament. After the passing of their son, Jeff, Bob and Darlene started the Jeff Sanders Golf Tournament with the proceeds going to scholarships for Bret Harte students and athletics. The golf tournament ran for many years. Bob grew up in Oregon, and Darlene was from San Andreas and a Calaveras graduate. But we will forgive her for that. I always have one of those jokes every year. There's some person, we'll just leave it at that went to Calaveras. I don't know why. Bob drove a bus for Bret Harte and loved to drive the sports buses to games. Bob and Darlene had 4 children, David, Stephen, Jeff, and Mike. All of them attended Bret Harte. They had 13 grandchildren, 17 great-grandchildren. 2 of the great-grandchildren just graduated from Bret Harte this past year. Sadly, we lost Bob in 2013. Now, please give a nice welcome to Darlene Sanders, accompanied tonight by Tom Ising.
Good evening. I'm deeply honored that Darlene Sanders has asked me to introduce her and say a few things. But before talking about Bob and Darlene Sanders, I'd like to congratulate the honorees that are here this evening, especially those recipients who I had the pleasure to teach and coach when they were way back in the 8th grade. Congratulations to all of you. Darlene Sanders could very well be in 3 athletic Hall of Fames in Calaveras County. As a tennis player in Calaveras County, at Calaveras High, she was the #1 ranked player for the school at a time when girls' sports largely went unnoticed. The lack of opportunity for girls was the primary reason why she became so active in girls' sports, even though as a parent, she and Bob only had boys. As for the imaginary Vallecito Hall of Fame, while working for the Vallecito School District for 31 years, Darlene was instrumental in assisting me, or in some cases, telling me about deadlines for sports announcements and all things associated with running school sports programs for Michelson when it was a K-8 school and later at Avery Middle School. But the reasons for Bob and Darlene's selection to the Bret Harte High School Hall of Fame goes back to the early 1970s. At that time, there were neither youth tackle football nor girls softball in the Ebbets Pass area, including Angels Camp. In the early 1970s, an organization was formed to help develop and support youth sports for this end of the county, including Angels Camp. In the early 1970s, Bob was a founding member of AMA, the Angels Murphys Arnold Booster Club. At that time, Bob and a friend noticed 2 Angels Camp kids were traveling to San Andreas every day to play Pop Warner. And they thought, why can't we do Pop Warner for our side of the county? And within 2 years, AMA was sponsoring its own youth football programs that grew each and every year. But Darlene was not sitting home at night waiting for Bob to come home. Bill Fish and Darlene started Ponytail Softball at about the same time that Pop Warner was getting its start. Darlene served as its director for 17 years, doing everything from ordering trophies and uniforms, setting up concession stands, finding coaches, scheduling the weekly games, securing umpires for each and every game. Incidentally, Bob lined the field to get the Diamonds ready for the games. While all this was being done, she was doing much the same work for the Vallecito School District, as well as being one heck of a school secretary at both Michelson School and later at Avery. Although Darlene might deny this, the huge success of Ponytail Softball and the fact that Darlene's team, the Giants, was sponsored by Dave Capello had, at least in my mind, some influence in David Capello donating the land to AMA for the softball fields that still serve our community today. Their contribution to youth sports provided a huge boost and foundation to the Bret Harte High School football and softball programs, and the legacy of their unselfish dedication to youth sports is still felt in our communities today. There are people in the world who see needs in our communities and look for solutions rather than excuses for not to get things done. Bob and Darlene Sanders represent those kinds of people who got things done. In a county whose history goes back to the gold rush, Bob and Darlene Sanders are two of its finest nuggets. In closing, simply caring for young kids and their growth through athletics are why they are being recognized tonight. Their selection is most truly deserved.
Thank you, Tom. On behalf of Bob and I, thank you to the selection committee for this great honor, and especially to Jerry Rucker for all that he does. I am humbled and I'm amazed that I am here to be honored for something we had just so much fun doing. When I received my notification letter, I said, "What? Us?" And then I thought, maybe we were being thanked for providing Bret Harte with so many grandchildren and great-grandchildren who all participated in the athletic program. Thank you to my girls for keeping up the tradition of Ponytail Softball, Donna, Stephanie, Chandra, Brooke, and Allie. And to the littles, Kyla, Ava, and Kenna, who are still playing. And to my boys, Stephen, Jeff, Mike, Brandon, Joey, and Mikey, who also participated in AMA football. And thank you to Bob for all you did and for always being by my side. Thank you.
One more round of applause, everybody, for Bob and Darlene Sanders, of course, with Tom Ising as our special guest tonight. All right, our next inductee into the Bret Harte Hall of Fame is Matarola, class of 2010. Unfortunately, Matt is not able to make it tonight. Matt participated in 3 varsity sports. He ran cross country for 4 years and track for 2 years. He also played basketball his senior year. In cross country, Matt was the D4 section champion. He also won the MLO meet 3 years in a row. At the state championships, Matt finished 6th his sophomore year, 12th his junior year, and 9th during his senior year. In track, Matt won the 800 meters and 1600 meters in 2008. He is also the school record holder in the 800 meters with a time of 1:58.57 and the 1600 meters at 4:21.46. In his senior year, Matt played basketball and averaged 6.5 points a game. After high school, Matt continued to run, going to American River College, where in 2012 he won the 1500-meter JC State Championship. His time was 3:45.8, and this is still an American River record. Also in 2012, Matt won the championship at the state cross-country meet after Matt transferred to the University of Alabama, where he competed on the cross-country and track teams. In 2014, Matt placed 3rd in the mile at the SEC Indoor Track Finals. During his final season, Matt ruptured his Achilles, ending his college career. Following graduation, Matt began his coaching career as an assistant coach at American River for 2 years before moving on to the University of Iowa. After moving back to California, he acquired his teaching credential and master's degree in kinesiology. Currently, he is in his first year as the head cross-country coach at the College of the Desert. Today's Matt team is running in the conference preview meet, so please join me in a round of applause once again for Matt Arola. Our next inductee tonight is Daniel Shin, Hardcastle, class of 1997. Danielle played volleyball at Bret Harte, and if you did not know her, you would have said volleyball or basketball, right? It's pretty odd. Well, I know, I'm just saying she's tall. She would have played volleyball. No. Or standing next to Brian. All right, and so she played volleyball. We've established that, obviously. And at this sport, she did something that no other league athlete has ever done. During her time on the volleyball court, she was the most outstanding player of the league her sophomore, junior, and senior years. During her senior year, Bret Harte lost in the section semifinals to Linden. Linden, of course, went on to win the state championship. Danielle was also the Modesto B Player of the Year her senior year. After high school, Danielle accepted a scholarship to UOP. Danielle was a 4-year starter and was a key factor in helping her team to the Final Four her junior year. In 1997 and 1999, she was a second team All-Big West and All-Freshman team. And in 2000, she was first team All-Big West and was also named to the NCAA Mid-East Region team while being captain of the team. Danielle holds records for digs and kills per game, and for her career, she had over 1,000 kills and digs. Danielle and 2 of her teammates have been inducted into the UOP Hall of Fame. Danielle continued her volleyball career after college, playing professionally in Puerto Rico and France. She was also a professional beach volleyball player for several years. After finishing her volleyball career, Danielle returned to Stockton and became a successful realtor, earning numerous top producer awards. Danielle is married to JD, and they have 2 children, Dax and Shay. She was also coached for many years, and has coached for many years, and is currently coaching her daughter's club team. Now, please join me in a round of applause as I introduce to you Danielle Shin, Hardcastle.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I like to walk around, get out from behind the podium there. But thank you so much for inducting me. I'm just so grateful. It's amazing to be back and be able to share this with my family. Brian and I graduated together, so if you check out my board, we were on there for most likely to be in the Hall of Fame, so here we are. So everyone was right. No, but I just loved every second of being at Bret Harte and being able to play volleyball, have an outlet for my competitive nature. If you know me, you know I'm a little bit competitive. And, but one person really stands out, and that's my dad, Doug Shin. Dad, I'd like you to stand. Now, my dad coached me for my sophomore, junior, and senior years on the varsity team. He was our coach. And he put together a group of girls. We were all friends. We loved each other. And it was really a special group. Emily Bergstrom is already also getting inducted tonight. And she is still my best friend till this day since 3rd grade. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here. But she was my setter. I couldn't have done it without her. She put up all those sets that I was able to spike down. So smash, whatever you want to call it. So, and Brian pointed out that I jumped pretty well. I don't jump anymore, but back in the day, I could jump okay. So thank you so much. I really appreciate my family being here. My Uncle Don is the one with the whistle, and he's bringing the excitement. And my mom, Carrie, I mean, seriously, I couldn't have done it without her. I am now in the travel ball, club volleyball world, and holy cow, how did you guys do it? I mean, seriously. I would go to practice, and then we'd drive down to Stockton so I could play club. I did that after even playing basketball my freshman year. And at a certain point, you had to choose because you had to decide what you wanted to do. And I just thank my parents for instilling a passion in a sport that I carry till this day. I love volleyball. I love sports. I love all sports. Baseball. My son and my husband are in baseball, and I just love sports because I'm just a very competitive person. And I mean, my husband and I can't even play cards or anything together. So it never ends well. But thank you to my children, Dax and Shay, and my wonderful husband, JD, for being here to support me. Like you said, Bret Harte is our roots, and that's right, I am proud to be a Bullfrog always. So thank you again very much. I'm very honored and grateful, and thank you, Jerry, for all your hard work. These boards are amazing. I mean, seriously, the time and effort, Brian, all of you put into this is impressive, and I am truly thankful. So thank you so much.
One more round of applause, everybody, for Daniel Shin Hardcastle. Our next inductee tonight is Jerry Middleton, class of 1982. Jerry received varsity letters in football and wrestling his junior and senior years. During his senior year, Jerry was the team captain and was also named first-team All-League guard and a first-team All-League linebacker. He was selected to play in the Lions All-Star football game. In wrestling, Jerry was a 2-time MLL champion, winning the 145-pound class his junior year and the 157-pound class his senior year. In 1982, Jerry set a national record with the most pins and the least accumulated time. He was also named Prep Athlete of the Week by the Stockton Record. I would hope so. After high school, Jerry went to Chico State, where he continued his wrestling career. Jerry was a 4-year letterman and a 3-time all-conference athlete. He was the team captain in 1985 and 1986. Jerry also competed at the Division II National Tournament. From 1992 to 99, Jerry was the AMA wrestling coach. He also helped as the assistant under Jan Schultz at the high school from 1993 to 2003, where they won many league championships, a team section title in 1995, and sent many wrestlers to the section and state meet. Jerry also helped organize and establish the Alumni Wrestling Boosters Incorporation. It was established to promote the sport of wrestling for elementary and high school wrestlers. Jerry is currently a board member for the Alumni Wrestling Boosters. Jerry is married to Tammy, and they have 5 children, Megan, Justin, Jared, Mackenzie, and Morgan. They also have 5 grandchildren. And with that, now let's have a warm welcome for Jerry Middleton.
Thanks. I wasn't really prepared for a speech, but I wrote some notes down. I got a lot of thank yous. I guess first I want to thank my wife for getting me nominated. All right. I want to thank my wife. I got to say that one louder. Thanks, Tam. And then as I go down, I was sitting there when we were talking, or when everybody was talking and some things. Coach Schultz, I want to thank him. I didn't wrestle until I was a sophomore, and he's being on campus just kept recruiting me, and finally got me to go out for the sport. And I just want to say thank you for that. I want to thank teammates. One that came to mind was Bobby Anderson. I was always a guy that was like 2-3 pounds lighter than Bobby, so I always got to cut the weight. And but Bobby he's always a fireball in the practice room, a good workout partner, and he made me better, made me what I am. I got to thank, I actually was, as I was sitting here tonight, I realized that I was at Bret Harte at a pretty special time. When I sit there and I look, Coach Kathgar, Coach Schultz, Coach Clements, they're all in the Hall of Fame. And I guess I'm just an extension of them making it to the Hall of Fame. They brought me here. I want to say thank you for that. At a special time, I wanted to recognize the girls' basketball team. They're all my classmates. Congratulations, girls. And I wanted to say thanks to Jerry and Brian for putting this all on, getting it all together. Thank you.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Middleton, class of 1982. One more time, a massive round of applause for our first group of inductees tonight. So that was group number one. We have our next group, and then remember, after our third group, then we will have our intermission. David told me, it takes 2 seconds for the mic to turn on. Don't talk before then. I forgot. All right, to our second group tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ginger Ward Fleck, class of 1984. Coach Harry Odden accepting is his great-granddaughter Ashley Held and his great-great-granddaughter Lindsay Hampton. Kyle Inks, class of 2007. And Tim Lilly, class of 1985. Ginger Ward Fleck, class of 1984. Ginger participated in 4 sports while at Bret Harte. She played basketball and volleyball all 4 years. As a freshman, she ran track and then switched to softball her next 3 years. In volleyball, Ginger was a first-team All-League player as a junior, and as a senior, she was the most outstanding player. She also competed on 2 league championship teams. As a basketball player during her junior year, Ginger was a first-team All-League player, and as a senior, she was the most valuable player. During her junior year, she helped Bret Harte to win a league championship. For softball, as a sophomore and junior, Ginger was named to the All-League team as a first-teamer. As a senior, she was named the most outstanding player. She was part of the league championship teams her junior and senior season. And in track, Ginger finished 3rd in the 110-meter hurdles. After graduating from Bret Harte in 1984, Ginger lived in Israel for 1 year with the American Field Service. She lived with 2 separate families during her year, 6 months on a kibbutz and 6 months in Tel Aviv. Upon return, Ginger moved to Southern California, where she graduated in 1992 from Cal State Fullerton with a BA in Communications and Public Relations. In 1999, her one and only daughter, Carissa, was born. Ironically, Ginger coached Carissa in the one sport that she never actually played, and that was soccer. Fortunately, the coaching gig involving 5-year-olds learning to kick the ball, Carissa ended up playing college soccer for 4 years in Iowa and graduated 2 years ago. Carissa is now 23 and lives in Austin, Texas. In 2012, Ginger decided to pursue her teaching credential from Cal State San Marcos. Kids have always been near and dear to her heart, so teaching was a rewarding feeling. When Carissa graduated high school from Temecula in 2018 and moved to Iowa to attend college, Ginger decided it was time to move as well. She landed a 4th grade teaching job at Albert Michelson Elementary and rented a condo off Main Street. Today, the teacher's in the same classroom where she attended 8th grade. Now, that is coming obviously full circle. She feels grateful to be back home in Calaveras County where her family still resides. Her mom, Pat Bradley, a retired music teacher, lives in Murphys, where it's wonderful to see her on a regular basis. Ginger has a brother, Barry Ward, who lives in Arnold, and a sister, Ellen, who lives in Folsom. Now, please welcome, everybody, Ginger Ward Fleck.
Thank you so much. I'll make this really short and sweet. I'm reading off my phone because the power went out when I went to print it today in Murphy's. But thank you to all those who helped out in this event tonight. How special it is to be in the room with a bunch of amazing bullfrogs. So I moved back to Calaveras County 5 years ago and now teach in the very room at Michelson where I attended 7th grade. So it's a bit surreal and so wonderful. I even landed a fellow bullfrog mate in Jeff, who I love. I wonder where I'd be if it were not for sports. Let me get my glasses on here. Yeah, I wonder where I'd be if it were not for sports. My great-great-grandmother told my mom actually, that I'd either be the first woman in San Quentin or the first woman president. And thank God neither happened. So I'm grateful for so much: my health, my family, my friends. And aside from great coaches I've had, Tom Ising, Noel Helmbrecht, Barb Hardwick, Barb Edwards, Coach Clements, Mike Lewis, Rick Sirocco, and of course Hutch. I've always admired basketball coach, Coach K from Duke University. You basketball knows who that is. During long walks during COVID, I listened to a podcast featuring Coach K, who offered some words of wisdom to recent high school graduates. And it really inspired me. He talked about how we are the driver of our own bus in life. We go through life driving in and out of different neighborhoods, and we stop and let people onto our bus. He says, make sure you put good people on your bus. And if you get on someone's bus, make sure they're good people. If they are, then they will help you go to places you will not be able to go alone. So for that, I'm grateful for my amazing teammates, coaches, and friends. You are the good people who fill my bus. Thank you.
Congratulations. One more time for Ginger Ward Fleck. Our next inductee in Group 2 tonight is Harry Odden, coach. You can clap. Harry Odden was born in 1888 in Iowa. After serving as a second lieutenant in World War I as a pilot, he made his way to Bret Harte for the 1920-21 school year. After that year, he left, but returned to Bret Harte for the 1927-28 school year, and he stayed for 19 years as a teacher and coach until he retired after the 1945-46 school year. During his time at Bret Harte, Mr. Odden taught geometry, algebra, and mechanical drawing, plus he had years teaching other subjects, including history, general business, science, boys PE, drama, and in the 1943 yearbook, it said that he also taught band. In a 1929 newspaper article, it said that Harry supervised the school play Hocus Pocus. Also in January 9th of 1931 in the newspaper, in an article from the Calaveras, California, the current Bret Harte alma mater was shown and said to be written by Harry Odden. The 1941 yearbook was dedicated to Mr. Odden. Mr. Odden was a coach of many sports while at Bret Harte. Over his tenure, he coached football, baseball, track, and basketball. In 1928, Mr. Odden was the first football coach in school history, and in 1930, he coached the baseball team to Bret Harte's first league championship. They then went on to lose to Auburn in the CIF playoffs. Over the years, Harry coached baseball the most, but if there was a need for a coach, Mr. Odden was the person to fill that void regardless of the sport. Mr. Odden retired in 1946 when his son Thomas graduated from Bret Harte. After retiring, Harry lived in Valley Springs. On July 4th, 1971, Harry Odden passed away. He is buried in the Altaville Cemetery. Please join me in congratulating Harry Odden on his induction, and here to accept Mr. Odden's award is his granddaughter, Karen Odden, and his great-great-granddaughter, Lindsay Hampton.
Good evening, folks. I'm Lindsay Hampton. I'm his great-great-granddaughter, and Karen, his granddaughter, cannot be here tonight, so we have his great-granddaughter, Ashley Held. And my father also joined us, Jesse Hampton, tonight. I'm honored to be speaking on behalf of Harry Odden. Harry Odden was born in 1888 in Iowa and passed away in 1971 in Valley Springs at the age of 82. He always had a love for athletics, team sports, and music. He attended and graduated from Kingfisher College in Oklahoma, where he was on the track team and sang in the choir and became a male quartet that performed at local events. After graduating, he went on to teach mathematics and athletics at Anaconda High School in Anaconda, Montana. He enlisted in the United States Army Air Service in 1918, where he earned the rank of captain. In 1928, my double great-grandfather, my great-great-grandmother Lily, and my great-grandfather Thomas moved here to Angels Camp, and Harry joined the staff of Bret Harte High School as the geometry and music teachers and others. And he was the first football coach of Bret Harte High School. During his years at Bret Harte, Harry had written our school's beloved alma mater, in which the school would recite at games and other events. He also became an active member of the Angels Camp Boosters Club and assisted in the organization of the Jumping Frog Jubilee right from the start. He was a member of the Angels Camp Miners Band, which performed locally and as far away as San Francisco. He was also a very active member in the American Legion and served as commander for the district. My great-grandfather said that during World War II, Harry was very good at corresponding with his students that were in the armed services. Our family would like to thank you very much for recognizing Harry Odden's achievements as the first football coach of Bret Harte High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Harry Odden. So that guy basically founded the school. Good luck, dude. Actually, his family just keeps racking up inductees in this particular ceremony. Kyle Ing's class of 2007. Kyle was a two-sport athlete at Bret Harte. He competed in football and track. Kyle was a running back in football. For his career, Kyle rushed for over 1,000 yards and was also named to the All-League team as a second-team running back his senior year. In track, Kyle starred in the pole vault. Kyle won the Motherlode League meet 3 different times. He still holds the league record with a jump of 15.2. His junior year, he won the D3 section meet. In his senior year, Kyle won the Masters meet with a school record jump of 16 feet. Pretty good. In the state meet, Kyle finished 11th place his junior year and 4th place his senior year. Kyle was also named the 2007 Union Democrat Sports Figure of the Year. Kyle attended Cal Poly and continued to pole vault. He continued to improve each season. Kyle qualified for the NCAA West Regionals 3 times. His personal record was 17.8.5. Which ties him for the 9th place all-time on Cal Poly's track and field records for the pole vault. After graduating, Kyle worked at the Madonna Inn and continued to train in pole vaulting while trying to make his way into the professional level. After a couple of years of training, Kyle made the tough decision to end his 11-year career in that vault. He then moved to Queenstown, New Zealand with a 1-year holiday work visa and an updated resume on a hunt for a job. Kyle ended up working at the Remarkables ski resort with his best friend, Colin Schwartz, for the 2015 ski season. Once returning back to California, Kyle worked construction with his dad while doing flight training at the Columbia Airport. Once he received his pilot's license and finished up his work with his dad, he got hired to run CNC machines in San Luis Obispo. After a few years of making prototype aerospace parts, Kyle had the opportunity to start developing his own business in the CNC manufacturing world. Kyle is now in the process of growing this new business venture and growing his family with his new wife, Brooke, for whom he is married in September of 2021. Now, please let me introduce Kyle Inks.
Hello. First off, thank you to my parents, Richard and Jan Inks, for all their dedication and love given to everything that their 4 boys had ambition towards: baseball, wrestling, soccer, football, 4-H, all sorts of things that took up many hours of the weekdays and weekends. I appreciate and love you guys so much. Thank you to the committee who decided to honor me with this induction. There are many great athletes that have played at Bret Harte besides the ones you see here today, and to be chosen along with these others to be etched into the history of our hometown high school is truly awesome. Thank you to AJ Barnett, who introduced me to pole vaulting, and Josh Linker, who along with AJ helped keep my drive high to become great in the vault. Thank you to Coach Clement for being my coach, for opening the weight room up at 5 a.m. during summers, for driving me hours to track meets along with Coach Oliver, and for being the most knowledgeable track coach I've encountered in my entire track career. Thank you, Coach Oliver, for teaching me how to pole vault and guiding me in the direction to continue to train and grow in it as I did. And then we have football. I can still remember the first day of practice, meeting all my teammates like it was yesterday. I'd been wanting to play football for a few years, but had to resort to soccer until high school. My parents didn't want me to get hurt, because I was small back in the days. I turned out to be pretty quick like my dad and had so much fun playing football. Thank you to all the coaches, both Sadler Senior and Junior, both Archie Barnett Senior and Archie Barnett Chip Junior. Thank you, Coach Edwards, Coach Osborne, Coach Burns, Coach Woods. You all, along with Coach Clements and Oliver, put so much effort into my athletic success, which has led me to the Bret Harte Hall of Fame, and this is pretty sweet. It's pretty cool to join my dad and sister-in-law on the list. Thank you and congratulations to my fellow Hall of Fame recipients, and thank you, Jerry, for putting this all together.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Kyle Inks. Our next inductee is Tim Lilly, class of 1985. Tim unfortunately cannot make it tonight. Tim was a two-sport athlete for Bret Harte. He was the point guard for the basketball team and the shortstop for the baseball team. As a baseball player, Tim made first team All-League as a shortstop his senior year. And in basketball, Tim made first team All-League his junior year and was the most valuable player his senior year. During his 2 years on varsity, Tim averaged 18 points per game, which is fourth all-time in Bret Harte history. He is one of the two players to make 16 free throws on 16 attempts in a single game. And Tim still holds the school record for 99 steals in a season. His senior year, Tim was on the team that won the section and was the runner-up for the NorCals. After high school, Tim went to Delta Junior College in Stockton, and Blue Mountain Community College in Pendleton, Oregon, where he played basketball for both schools. Tim left his heart and health in California, so he transferred back and enrolled at UC Davis. Basketball didn't go as planned at Davis, but he did graduate, and best of all, he found his best friend and future wife, who happened to be playing on the women's basketball team. 1 year later, Tim received his teaching credential from National University, which opened the door to a 30-year teaching career. Tim just retired from the Napa Valley School District, where he taught math and PE to middle and high school students. Tim is a girl dad. He coached his two daughters in soccer, softball, and basketball. Tim just celebrated his 31st anniversary with his wife, Rebecca. Their two daughters are Alexis and Sierra. Both are nurses in Henderson, Nevada. Tim has one grandson who is 2 years old and another grandson that is due to arrive in January. To be close to the grandchildren, Tim and his wife have relocated to Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Lilly, class of 1985. And one more round of applause for all the inductees in group number 2 tonight. All right, just a quick reminder, we're about an hour in or so. We'll do this group, and then we'll take a little break. All right, to start this next group number 3 tonight, we have Marianne Matson, class of 2006. Vince Strange, class of 1987. Bree Bales Inks, class of 2002. The 1984-1985 boys basketball team. Our first inductee in this particular group tonight is Marianne Matson, class of 2006. Marianne was a three-sport athlete at Bret Harte. She played volleyball, basketball, and softball. In basketball, she played all 4 years on the varsity, and in volleyball and softball, she played on the varsity for 3 years. As a basketball player, Marianne made first team All-League 3 times. Her teams won the league for all 4 years. Made it to the section final once, the semis twice, and the quarterfinals her freshman year. She is third all-time in assists, fourth in steals, and tied for third in most three-pointers made. In softball, her junior year, she was first team All-League, and her senior year, she was the most outstanding player. After high school, Marianne attended UCSB, graduating in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in fine arts. She also earned 3 minors in health and exercise science. After graduation, Marianne worked at UCSB Athletics, creating their on- and off-season injury prevention programs. She also started her own injury prevention business, working with individuals and corporations on postural restoration and surgery prevention. In 2016, Marianne opened Mad Fitness in downtown Santa Barbara. They work with local companies and residents. The Santa Barbara Police Department is a major company that works with Mad Fitness as well. Since opening, Marianne's business has been awarded with the Young Professional of the Year in 2016, the Lululemon Ambassador Award in 2017, and Small Business of the Year in 2018. Mad Business works closely with the local community. They have weekly classes and quarterly events, and the profits go to local charity, and they have raised more than $120,000 since 2016. Marianne is opening another Mad Fitness in Ventura and is starting another company, M&H Innovations. Her first product is the Ab Glow, so watch for it on Shark Tank. Just wait until she gets the microphone. Marianne has her dog Ollie, who couldn't make it tonight. That's too bad. And she loves living in Santa Barbara. So let's welcome the very well-rounded Marianne Matson, everybody.
Tell me if I'm too loud. Thank you for the amazing introduction. Can you hear me? I know I only have 2 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to get all my thank yous in. But when Mr. Rucker called me to tell me I was being inducted, like my first thought that came to my mind was not the wins, not the awards. It was my first game on varsity as a freshman. You're probably going to remember this. And I was so worried about starting point guard, having the plays down, tying my shoes, not tripping. And like 2 minutes into the game, I airballed a half-court shot because I didn't know what a shot clock was. Do you remember that? And all this worry, I just didn't even know the basic rules of basketball. I just had no idea. So I airballed this shot, and I was so mortified. I think I was probably mortified for 4 years. But I look back at it now, and I laugh because it was just one time, and he reminded me that I was very quiet and shy growing up, which I completely forgot about. I would ramble on forever if you'd let me up here. But it was crazy because Coach Lewis and Mr. Sirocco, and I think Becca's here. Becca, maybe somewhere. They were the three probably most influential people in my life. And back then it just seemed a lot like work, but I realized what they were doing is growing me into a human and a good human. And there's not a day that goes by that I do not use the work that you instilled in me. And not a day goes by that I don't mess up and laugh at it instead of cry anymore. And it's crazy. I was in the unique position of being with a different upper class group every year. And through that, I got to grow up in a really awesome way. I got to learn from these older, amazing athletes who helped me mature because I was a little immature at that age. I was in a big role and I was very young, and it's just cool to look back at it and appreciate the lessons that you can get nowhere else. You can't pay for those. And because of Mr. Lewis and Mr. Sirocco, I've been able to succeed in life even though I was extremely shy. And through this experience, I kind of learned to not sweat the small stuff because when you take things seriously, you airball, And it's been a wonderful, I'm very honored to be here, and very thank you to Mr. Rucker and my friends and family who are here right now. I would not have gone anywhere without my mother. I don't know where she is. There she is, taking a photo, of course. She sacrificed a lot of time, money, energy. I think we were home 2 days every summer, so I could live out my dream and be the best athlete I could be. And so I appreciate you and I love you and my whole family for sacrificing all of our summers and getting me up in the morning when I hated the morning. And to all my fellow teammates for the 4 years, I think some of you might be here, maybe siblings. It was a great experience, and it was just so much more than 4 years to me. It really was a lifelong experience that I always will appreciate. And to the other inductees, I hope you guys are able to take a second and pause. This is a really awesome honor that not a lot of people get. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Thank you, Mr. Rucker. And congrats, everyone.
Congratulations. One more round of applause for Marianne Matson, class of 2006. Our next inductee tonight is Vince Strange, class of 1987. Unfortunately, Vince cannot make it tonight. Vince was a three-sport varsity athlete at Bret Harte. He played both football, basketball, and ran track for 2 years. He also played baseball his freshman year. In football, Vince was a quarterback and defensive back. His junior year, he was a second-team All-League defensive back. In his senior year, he was voted Defensive Player of the Year. He is tied for second in career interceptions with 9. Vince helped lead Bret Harte to section runner-ups his senior year during his 2-year varsity run for the Frogs, where they were 15-5. And in baseball, Vince was part of 2 league championships. His junior year, he made first-team All-League, and in his senior year, he was the league's most valuable player. In track, Vince ran sprints and did the long and triple jump. Vince did track because Mr. Clement said it would make him faster for football. Vince met his future wife of 31 years ago. He has been married to Michelle for 29 years. They have a son, Logan, who is a double major graduate at Boise State. Logan now lives in Texas. Vince helped coach Logan until he reached high school. Logan then played sports in high school, like his dad, and was a quarterback on the football team. Vince's wife, Michelle, is the vice president of banking, and Vince is a project manager for a worldwide construction company. Vince and his wife currently reside in Auburn. So one more time for Vince Strange, please. Our next inductee tonight in this particular group is Bree Bales, Inc.'s class of 2002. Bree was a two-sport athlete playing basketball and softball. She was a varsity basketball player all 4 years and varsity softball player for 3 years. In softball, Bree was a first-team all-leaguer player, all-league player her junior year. And her junior year, she batted 333%. That's pretty good. 333, as they say in baseball and softball, and was the most valuable player. And in basketball, Bree was a first-team all-league player her junior and senior year. During the 4 years, Bree was a part of 3 league championships. Bree is the 8th all-time scorer in Bret Harte history, 7th all-time in assists, and 2nd all-time in three-pointers made with 154. As a senior, Bree was an honorable mention selection for the Stockton Record All-Area team. After high school, Bree earned a bachelor's degree in health and wellness. Bree has helped coach AMA softball, 5th grade basketball at Michelson, and Little League baseball. Bree has worked for Bear Valley Mountain and CCOE. She now homeschools her 2 boys, Trace, whose birthdays is today, and Rhett as well. Also, Bree and her husband, Kevin, are the owners and operator of Kevin's Crane Company. Now please welcome Bree Bales, Inc.
Thanks, Eric. First, I would like to thank Jerry and his team for doing all the hard work to put on this ceremony. Thank you to all of my teammates over the years for making sports fun. Thanks also to my mom and dad for always being supportive. Thank you also to all of my coaches that I've had over the years, especially Mike and Rick. I couldn't have asked for better coaches on the basketball court. And also Archie Barnett for being the best on the diamond. I sure do miss seeing you around. Also, thanks to Coach Clements, who always got us in shape in the fall with his strength shoe workouts. Anybody who did those remembers them. And lastly, today is my son Trace's 11th birthday and my niece Maddie's 14th birthday. They had big plans to go camping this weekend, and they sacrificed that to come here tonight. So thanks, you guys, and thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
Bree Bales, Inc., one more time, class of 2002. All right, we got one more inductee, and this, of course, comes as a group, and then we can take a quick little break. And this is the 1984-1985 boys basketball team. The 84-85 boys basketball team returned 2 first-team players and 4 other players from the previous season, so expectations were high for a very great season. The season started with a close win over Manteca High School. Then it was off to the Lowry Buckaroo tournament in Winnemucca, Nevada. In the semifinals, Bret Harte defeated the host school, Lowry, 61-58. Then the next night, they defeated Bishop Manogue of Reno, 56-49, to win that tournament. After defeating Argonaut at 52-26 in an early December league game, the Frogs finished their season with a 7-1 record. During the league season, Bret Harte dominated their opponents, so winning all 15 games with a winning margin of nearly 23 points per game. The closest league game was a 78-69 victory over Somerville. The support of the community was just beginning as the playoffs started. The Bullfrog started with the home victories against Riverbank and Mariposa, and then it was off to Tokay, where the opponent was Folsom. After a 60-58 victory over Folsom, the Frogs defeated St. Patrick's the next night, 54-52, to win the section championship. The next week, Bret Harte went to Chico to play Cloverdale in the NorCal semifinals. Bret Harte won the game 55-37. The next day, they traveled to Oakland Coliseum to play Folsom in the NorCal Finals. The game ended in heartbreak, the Frogs losing 43-41. The 1984-85 boys basketball team finished the season with a 27-2 record. All league players included Rich Hogan as co-most outstanding players, Tim Lilly as most valuable player. First teamers were Keith Rockensaw and Jim Kern, and Jim Hecker was named to the second team. Other players on the team were Ron Loomis, Roland Wheeler, Mark Pedro, Pat Driscoll, Mark Helmbrecht, and Pat Jerka. Now, can all members of the team and coaching staff please stand and join Coach Kathgar to receive your induction certification?
I thought he was trying to chase me away. First of all, Jerry Rucker was the assistant coach that year. Come on over, Jerry. I had met Jerry at a clinic in Reno. He was at another school and recruited him to Bret Harte. Came in, it was probably the best recruitment I've ever made. So he has been a big part of this, a big part of this program that we have. This team I'm so proud of. It was so much fun to work with these guys. They were hard workers. They were intelligent. They had basketball sense. What else were they? They were tall, which didn't hurt at all. You know, we were 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", so that made a big difference. Plus, we had the most valuable guard in the league. And like I say, they were so much fun to work with. They were so easy to work with. I haven't seen some of these guys in 35 years. And it's been such a great, this event is so great for this to happen, for me to get them here and to visit with them. Some of the players aren't here. You've probably heard or read about Jim Hecker, General Jim Hecker. He's in Germany right now, protecting us. And I texted him the other day, and he was bummed that he couldn't make it. And he wanted to wish all the rest of the players luck there. Rich Hogan has moved to Arkansas, and he wasn't able to make it. Tim Lilly came down with COVID last week, or he would have been here. So being in contact and seeing these guys is fantastic. So we have Jim Kern here, Keith Rockensaw, Mark Helmbrecht, Pat Driscoll. They're all here. Some of our guys, I was telling you that they were very smart. We have a general. We have 2 retired teachers. We have 2 engineers. We have a retired sheriff captain. We have a flipper. So they're very smart, and they were very fun to work with, and I love every one of them. Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1984-1985 boys basketball team, coached by Rich Kathgar. All right, before we get to the next group, we're going to have a quick intermission. So like we said, we had 5 groups. We have 3 of them, then an intermission. But real quickly, if Ron Lewis can go up to the raffle. I want to draw our ticket. We have $380 on the line. I don't want people to get out of their seats before we do this. Yeah, no, I wasn't joking. We're almost there, people. Stay seated for one more second, and then we'll get you a quick 10-minute break, and then we'll get to the back half of this. All right, the winning ticket, and what did we say, Mom? $380. Yeah, I'm old. It's just B288517. Does that sound? I can't see. $8288517. Does anybody have that particular ticket? Wave it with pride. 828-8517. Oh, we got a winner. All right, congratulations. We'll take about a 10-minute break, and we'll come right back for the final two groups to wrap this up tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, your fourth group out of 5 tonight includes the following inductees to the Bret Harte Athletics Hall of Fame. Everybody please put your hand together for Ed Barnett, class of 1967. Arthur Sonny Canepa, class of 1959. Archie Chip Barnett, class of 1980. Courtney Shires Linker, class of 2002. And this time as a coach, Rich Kathgar. Ladies and gentlemen, for our fourth group tonight, Ed Barnett, class of 1967. Ed Barnett played 4 sports while at Bret Harte. He earned 3 varsity letters for football, 2 for basketball, 3 for baseball, and 1 for tennis, for a total of 9 varsity letters. In football, Ed was an offensive lineman and linebacker. He was a team captain and an all-league Motherlode League player. In basketball, he was named to the second-team all-league team. During his senior year, Ed averaged 10 points per game. Ed had a double-double of 15 points and 12 rebounds in a victory over Calaveras. As a baseball player, Ed was a good hitter and a defensive infielder. He was also an all-league player. He coached, his coach, Ron Lewis, has said that Ed had an outstanding character and leadership. He gave 100% and was an inspiration to others. Ed was a member of the student council as a sergeant-at-arms. After high school, Ed continued his sports career by playing football and baseball at Sacramento City College and Humboldt State. At Sac City, Ed's team was state runner-up in baseball. Ed then became a teacher for 40 years and a football coach. He coached championships and went to the playoffs with Mariposa and King City High School. He also coached 10 years as a defensive coordinator at Allen Hancock College and has been a board member at the Central Coast Fellowship of Christian Athletics. Ed is married to Jeannie and has 3 children, Damon, Carly, and Bronson. He also has 2 grandchildren. Now please welcome Ed Barnett.
Congratulations. Thank you for staying after the break. Thank you to the committee for putting all this together, and congratulations to the other inductees. I'm completely honored to be here tonight, especially satisfying to me because I can join my older brothers, Ray, Archie, and Jay, and 2 nephews, Brian and Chip, into the Athletic Hall of Fame. I came from a very athletic family. I have 2 sisters, Joyce and Pauline, that were very athletic in their own right. They were probably just born too early to be able to compete like today's girls are. And my younger brother, Bob, had he not been involved in a severe car crash as a freshman, probably would have been the best of the entire Barnett group. But I thoroughly enjoyed my years at Bret Harte High School. Playing Friday night football, playing before a packed gym in basketball, playing baseball in the springtime. We used to have in the right field fence, there was a bank out there. They had a telephone wire. If you hit it under the wire, it was 2-base hit. If it went over the wire, it was an automatic home run. The Green Monster in Boston had nothing on Bret Harte High School, I'll tell you that. I played sports throughout my entire life. Rich Cathcart and I grew up together. We used to play one-on-one basketball. We'd play home run derby between the two of us. We used to sneak into the gym on the weekends. We used to leave the door ajar so we could go in there. We made up these foolish games just so we could compete and play sports. The time that I spent at Bret Harte is totally unmatched. Coach Lewis, I can't say enough good things about Coach Lewis. I earned 9 varsity letters. 8 of them came from Coach Lewis. We finished football practice on a Friday night, or a football game on a Friday night, because I'll see you guys at basketball practice tomorrow morning. Last basketball game was over. I'll see you guys at baseball tryouts the next day. I ended up coaching high school football and college football for 40 years. Everything I did was patterned after what I learned from Coach Lewis. My goal was always to be, I want my players to be able to feel about me the way that I felt about Coach Lewis and the impact that he had on my life. He convinced me that I could go on and play college ball. I went on and played baseball and football at City College in Sacramento, then later on at Humboldt State, and then I went on and had a career of coaching and teaching for 40 years. Everything I was motivated by him. My older brother set a high standard of athletic competence that's unmatched, and it was kind of eerie for me to try to go in and try to fulfill what they had already done, and there's no way that I could match, especially what Ray and Archie had done. I have a blessed life, there's no doubt. I have 3 great kids, I have 2 grandchildren. None of it would have been possible without my mom and dad's courage. They moved us from Oklahoma in the 50s. If you ever read the book, The Grapes of Wrath, that was my family. We loaded up whatever we had. We came to California looking for riches. We never found the riches, but what we did find was a house that had electricity and running water. We lived for numerous years right across the street from the high school between the Alamo Market and the drugstore at that time. It still stands today. 9 of us grew up there. How that would happen, I have no idea. A good friend of ours, David Mills, came for a visit one time. He goes, I love you, I love your family. You got to do something about that bathroom, though. If the roof was slanted, he had to bend over to go and use the bathroom. My mom and dad had no athletic background, but there was never a game that they missed. They were always there in the stands supporting us and motivating us. I feel very, very blessed, no doubt. I am a blessed man. I have children. 2 major things happened in my life. One was I found faith, which I still adhere to today. And after 10 years, I convinced my wife, Jenny, to marry me. And she was with me when I was coaching. She never complained about the hours I put in. When I was gone from the house, nothing. And I think that was because she was a very successful coach in her own right. Very successful tennis coach, and most recently was inducted in the Northern Santa Barbara County Hall of Fame. So, in closing, I want to thank Jerry and Kathleen who ventured out tonight, and all the Barnetts that are here tonight that love each other unconditionally. Love you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ed Barnett, class of 1967, everybody. Our next inductee tonight is Arthur Sonny Canepa, class of 1959. Sonny Canepa played football, baseball, and basketball. He was on a varsity for 4 years for football and baseball and basketball. He played 1 year. In football, Sonny was named a first-team All-League running back his senior year. At the Bret Harte Football Awards as a senior, Sonny was named Most Outstanding Back and Most Valuable Player. He also was a career 1,000-yard rusher. In his senior year, Sonny gained 931 yards in only 8 games. In the Linden game that year, Sonny started the game by returning the kickoff 85 yards for a touchdown. In baseball, Sonny led the team in the hitting and was named the MVP of the team He also played in the MLL All-Star baseball game. Sonny was in the Army for 3 years, and in the late 1960s, he helped start the AMA youth program. He coached the Pop Warner football team and girls softball team. Sonny also helped build Capella Park. He was a part of the Bret Harte chain gang for football games for 30-plus years and was also a member of the quarterback club for many years. Sonny has been married to Sharon for 58 years, and they have 2 children, Tamara and Rhonda, and Sonny and Sharon have 4 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Now let's have a warm welcome for Arthur Sonny Canepa.
Well, after Eddie was up here, I don't know what to say. I should have let him do the talking for me. I am honored to be inducted into the Bret Harte Hall of Fame. Thank you to my great friend and best man 58 years ago, Ronnie Lewis, for nominating me. I am also grateful to the nominating committee for honoring me tonight. I enjoyed 4 years at Bret Harte, all the sports I played, and the many memories created playing those sports with good friends and coaches. I didn't study enough to graduate. Sports are what kept me in school. I especially want to thank all my friends, family, who came to support me tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations. Great job. Arthur Sonny Canepa, class of 1959. One more round of applause, please. Our next inductee tonight is Archie Chip Barnett, class of 1980. Chip was a 3-sport athlete at Bret Harte. He participated in football, basketball, and track. In track, Chip threw the shot put and discus. His senior year, he won the Motherlode League championship in the shot put. His team won the MLL track championship both years. For basketball, Chip's teams were 10-0 both years. Football was Chip's top sport. In 1978, he was a first-team All-League center. In his senior year, Chip was lineman of the year and first-team All-League center and defensive lineman as well. Chip was a part of the football teams that won MLL championships both years. In the playoffs, they made a finals his junior year, and they won the section championship his senior year. Chip also was chosen as all-area center for the Stockton Record and participated in the Lions Club All-Star football game. After high school, Chip went on to play football at Boise State. While his kids grew up, Chip coached AMA softball, Little League baseball, and Pop Warner football. Chip has also helped Bret Harte coaching football and track for 10 years. While coaching at Bret Harte, Chip's biggest thrill was getting a chance to coach with his dad and Mr. Clements. He still helps with the chains for football games. Chip now spends most of his free time seeing his grandchildren in events that they're participating in. Chip is married to Wanda, and they have 2 children, Sarah and AJ. They also have 7 grandchildren. I now present to you Chip Arnett.
All right, thank you very much. Unlike my Uncle Ed, this is not a comfortable place for me. So I was telling Brian, he goes, I should give this speech to Ed, have him come up here and give it for me, but here we go. I'd like to thank the Bret Harte Hall of Fame committee for this induction in the Hall of Fame. It's a privilege and an honor to be inducted with the fellow inductees tonight and the previous inductees. Growing up in Angels Camp, like Uncle Ed said, we had a great following of Barnetts. It was awesome growing up, being able to listen to former coaches, people talk about the Barnett heritage at Bret Harte. Like I said, not only my uncles, my aunts were great athletes too, but like I said, they were before the time where there was a lot of women's sports. So like I said, tonight is a special honor to be inducted with my dad, my Uncle Ray, my Uncle Jay, my Uncle Ed, my cousin Brian. There's a few of us. We are would love to get my kids to move back up into Angels Camp, but I know where they live now, they're better off down there in the valley where there's more work and more things for my grandkids to do. It keeps me busy on Saturdays and Sundays, driving back and forth. I could not have done what I did without my parents' help, my mom, my dad, Archie and Darlene, and my brothers and sisters. It had to be tough on them. There was 4 of us, 6 years apart, playing sports. They were always going one way or the other. They're doing what my wife and I are doing now with our grandkids, trying to figure out what game who goes to make sure we always have a parent there. Also growing up, going to games, whether we were playing football, basketball, you could always look behind you in the Bret Harte stands if we were away and find a group of Barnetts as well as a group of other followees from this area, the Sanders, the Osbornes, all the other kids that I played with. Their parents were always there. My senior year, we played in Napa against Justin Siena, and they were the home team, but I think we had more fans in our side than they did on theirs. I think they chartered 3 buses to go down there. You could hear them when they got off the bus, so it must have been a good time on the bus to the game. So it was a great, growing up in Angels, being a Frog is awesome. Not only did I get to attend Bret Harte, but I was able to coach at Bret Harte. I was able to coach with Coach Clements, who helped me through football and track, as well as Coach Kathgar in basketball. But coaching with Coach Clements and my dad on the sidelines for football games was awesome. I know my daughter was a stat keeper one year, and she thought me and my dad were going to go at it because he coached the offense, I coached the defense. He was a whole lot more knowledgeable than I was. So I was too stubborn to admit it, so he'd keep telling me to run a defense. I would just do the total opposite. But it was, a delight in my life to coach with him. Also, I was able to coach my daughter in track and field, or as we call it, field and track in our house, because we do more field than we do track. Also, was able to coach my son AJ in football, and he did come up and learn how to throw the discus for a while. I was able to coach my niece Alex in track, my nephew Anthony in football, my nephews Josh and Greg Chereau in football. When I started coaching at Bret Harte, I was a wide receiver coach, and I think Kelly was one of my wide receivers. So he's probably looking at his cousin, figuring, what's this lineman doing out here trying to teach us how to run patterns? So I appreciate it. I thank you, Jerry, and the committee for putting this on. This is an awesome event. Also, I would like to thank Simone Clement. She was always there for the football team on Friday nights. I don't know if a lot of you guys probably didn't have the pleasure of going over to Coach's house for pregame meals. We would go over there. He had his giant barbecue. We would barbecue the meat, and Simone would provide all the other fixings. So thank you, Simone. I know you're not here, but I appreciate your support and everything. Again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Chip Barnett, class of 1980, everybody. Our next inductee into the Bret Harte Athletics Hall of Fame is Courtney Shires-Linker, class of 2002. Courtney participated in track and field for 4 years and basketball for 3 years. In basketball, Courtney was second-team All-League as a sophomore, and as a senior, she was honorable mention. Courtney was 18th all-time in steals. In track, Courtney was a 3-time Motherlode League champ in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and she also won 3 times as part of the 4x100 relay team. Courtney still holds the league record in the 100 meters with a time of 12.18. That's fast. I will give it to you. That is very fast. In 2001, Courtney finished second in the section meet with the 100 meters. She also qualified to compete in the state meet. Her team won the Division IV section championship in 2001. She was also selected to the Motherlode League MVP and was an all-district team. After high school, Courtney went to Cal State Fullerton. She competed on the track team in 2002 and 2003 and 2003 and 2004. She was also a Big West Conference Scholar athlete. After she graduated from Cal State Fullerton with her Bachelor of Arts, Courtney went on to get her Master's in Education at Northwest Nazarene University. She is now a 7th grade math and junior high school high art teacher. Courtney has also been in education for 15 years. Courtney is married to Patrick, and they have 2 children, Alexa and Elliot. Now, please, a big hand for Courtney Shires-Linker.
Hello, Bret Harte alumni, staff, and my family. It is a pleasure to share this evening with you all. What an honor it is to be inducted into the Bret Harte Hall of Fame. 20 years ago, I graduated from Bret Harte. To this day, I still find myself reflecting on and utilizing the valuable skills and experiences from my time as a Bullfrog. Bret Harte coaches and teachers continuously pushed me to achieve my best. On the field or in the gym, we were expected to practice like we wanted to perform, 100% all of the time. In the classroom, we were expected to meet high standards, and although I didn't appreciate it at the time, my first 2 years of college were easy. So I publicly want to thank my teachers for that. And my parents, Barry and Barb Shires. I always thought you were normal parents, and we were a normal family. It took me years to realize how wrong I was. You are not normal, and my childhood was not normal. It was phenomenal. You were and still are phenomenal parents. Sorry. Thank you for always being there for me and for always supporting me. Without your guidance, I feel confident that I would not have been able to achieve the blessed life that I have. As I conclude my time with you, I would like to share 2 mottos that I casually picked up during my time at Bret Harte and forever have adopted. The first motto that I choose to live by, I wish he was here. Oh, sorry. Came from my very knowledgeable, very talented track and field coach, Mr. Hal Clements. Hal taught us that the pain is momentary, but the pride is forever. That couldn't be more true for the physical challenges that we experienced as athletes. But it has also helped me find my way through challenging times in adulthood and parenthood. As has the last motto, another that I choose to live by, delivered to me by my father via Tom Petty. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. You guys, this is a very special community. Bret Harte is a very special place. And although I don't live here anymore, you all hold a very special place in my heart. So thank you very much.
Courtney Shires-Linker, class of 2002. Our next inductee tonight, once again, is Rich Kathgar, this time as a coach. Rich has been a head varsity coach of 4 different sports over the course of 45 years. He started as the varsity basketball coach in 1974 and 75 and continued until 1999. In 1987, Rich was the first coach of boys golf. He was the head coach until 2021. In football, after being an assistant coach for many years, Rich took over the program from 1991 until 1995 when girls golf was started. Rich coached from 1999 until 2017. Rich's basketball team won 8 Mother-Lode League championships and won the 1985 Sac-Joaquin Section Championship. His team made the playoffs 19 times, and they also got to the section finals 2 other times. In football, they made the playoffs twice. In golf, his teams won the league 18 times in boys golf and 10 times in girls golf. His teams won 4 boys sections and 2 girls the section championships. Rich was athletic director at Bret Harte for 15 years. In 2003, he was named the Sac-Joaquin Section Athletic Director of the Year. After his retirement from teaching in 2010, he became the Mother-Lode League commissioner. He was also named a Sac-Joaquin model coach in 2011. Rich was also inducted into the Sac-Joaquin Section Hall of Fame in 2018. Rich is married to Roz, and they have 2 daughters, Kelly and Christy. They also have 3 grandchildren. I have the best father on the planet, but if there's anything that comes close to a father figure in my life, it's Rich Kathgar.
I've been a Bret Harte a long time. And someone said a few years ago that their blood was purple and gold. I'm sure mine is purple and gold. Everybody has thanked Jerry and Eilina for doing the Hall of Fame. I want to thank Eilina and then Jerry. Eilina does a lot of the work. I mean, she is the best. Jerry has fun doing a lot of the research, but he does do a lot of work. He's put a lot of time and effort in this. And this is such a great event. When I come here, I think like I said earlier, my basketball team, some of them I haven't seen in 35 years. And to be able to visit and try to recognize people that I've coached in the 70s, it's a challenge, but it's great. I really enjoy it. It's an honor for me to be selected as a coach. I'm joining Hal Clements, Jan Schultz, Jan Edwards, Tony Ogene, and Harry Odden. I'm very honored to be a part of that. Along the way, along my journey of coaching, I've had a lot of help. And I just want to thank a few people. I put a list of people that I thought had been a part of my success, but I'm going to point out a few. Like Ed, my classmate, Ed Barnett, my classmate, Ron Lewis was very important. He's the one that started or gave me the first opportunity to coach football. I coached over in 1970 at Sonora. That was my first introduction. And my wife reminded me the other day that we were married in 1970, and she didn't have to remind me that we were married in 1970, but she did remind me that Sonora played Calaveras at a football game, and we had our wedding reception or dinner at the Black Bart Inn. And we walked over to the football game after the dinner. So that was the start of my coaching. So Ron has been such a influence on my life, and he was my coach, he was my athletic director, he was my principal, and he's my friend. And I appreciate everything you've done, Ron. Thank you very much. Next, I want to thank Hal Clements. Hal got me started in football at Bret Harte. When I started teaching in '72, I started coaching. And I learned so much from Hal. I learned dedication. I learned preparation. I learned how to care for kids. Hal was the greatest. And I go and visit him a lot now, and we try to reminisce about our old days. But he's been a big influence, and we were together for a long, long time on the football field. Noel Helmbrecht. Noel gave me my first start in basketball. Again, that first year when I started teaching, I was coaching basketball, or I assisted Noel in basketball. And a few years later, I took over the varsity team and did that for 25 years. And then I don't know if they said, but I was out for a year, and then I came back and started helping Jerry for probably another, 10 years or so. And then my daughter was coaching basketball in Escalon, and she was having girls basketball, and she was having a hard time finding help. So I drove to Escalon for a couple of years. to help her. So that was basketball. A couple of my closest friends, Mike Lewis and Jerry Rucker, they were always very helpful to me when I was a head coach in football, head coach in basketball. They were my assistant coaches. They were JV coaches or freshman coaches, and we could always talk, and we always got along, and Michael would always tell stories about me. And so we'd always get a laugh out of that. So if you want to hear some stories, you'll have some. And they're like I say, they're my good friends, and that's something that I hope I never lose. The office staff at the high school, they've been taking care of me for years. It goes back all the way to Dorothy Finley. Dorothy Finley was the principal secretary. If she liked you, you were in good stead. If she didn't, you better forget it. Dorothy liked me, so we got along well. I probably got things that other people wouldn't. Eilina is the school athletic director secretary. She's been very, very helpful over the years. Nancy Hillman was the principal secretary. She was also very helpful. My advice to any coaches, make sure that the office staff is on your side. It's very helpful. My family. I've been very fortunate. My wife, Roz, she's stuck with me for 52 years now. I think I've had an influence on her, my coaching influence on her, that she started when her daughters were playing, she started keeping stats for them. And when I was a head coach, she would cook meals, wash clothes. We even housed some players at times. So she's been a part of it for all those years, and I appreciate that. Roz, thank you so much. My daughters, my youngest daughter coached at Escalon. She coached basketball and golf. Would beat me in golf. Wasn't very nice of her. But I did get her back one time. She won the section, and so she had this blue banner. So she sent me a picture. See this blue banner? So I got the two that I had, put them out, sent her back a picture of two banners. I don't think she thought that was real funny. I did. My daughter Kelly is now starting to coach at the high school. She's going to be coaching basketball, so we're pretty excited about that. Following our grandchildren, we have 3 grandchildren now, and following them has been so much fun. And so they're going to be going to Bret Harte, so we'll probably, another 8 years, 10 years at Bret Harte? Okay, that'll be fine. Hopefully I live that long. That would be great. And finally, I want to thank all the players that I've ever coached. I want to thank them for their hard work, their commitment, their dedication. They're making it fun for me. I enjoyed my time. I've enjoyed the 50 years plus that I've coached. And even though I've given up the head coaching, I'm still trying to help with golf, and I enjoy the heck out of it. And it's a lot easier to be an assistant coach than to be a head coach. So thank you, players, Thank you, all the coaches that have mentored me. Thank you, my family, for everything you have put up with over the years. And I truly, truly, truly am honored to be a coach in the Hall of Fame of Bret Harte High School. Thank you.
Obviously, the legend, Rich Kathgar. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 groups tonight. That was the conclusion of group number 4. One more giant round of applause. All right, we have one more group and 4 more inductees to go, and then we can call it a night. All right, into our final group tonight. We begin with Brett Downey, class of 2008. Emily Bergstrom Gwinnett, class of 1997. Bill Wade, friend of Bret Harte Athletics. And finally tonight, the 1980-1981 girls basketball team. All right, now individually, Brett Downey, class of 2008. Brett was a 3-sport athlete at Bret Harte. He played varsity football and basketball his junior and senior year. In baseball, he played on varsity his junior year. In football, Brett played tight end, offensive tackle, and defensive end. His junior year, he was a second-team All-League defensive lineman. In his senior year, he was the first-team All-League tackle. For basketball, Brett was a first-team All-League player both his junior and senior years. He is also the all-time leading rebounder with 632 rebounds. In his senior year, Brett shot 62% from the field. Brett also played in the Lions All-Star football game and the Columbia All-Star basketball game. After high school, Brett attended UCLA as a walk-on offensive lineman to continue his football career. After a year and a half in the program, he received a scholarship from Coach Rick Neuheisel. He spent the rest of his college career as a scholarship player. He got his first start at the Craft to Fight Hunger Bowl at AT&T Park in San Francisco. He graduated UCLA in 2012 with a Bachelor of Arts in History. He now lives in Santa Rosa, where Brett officiates elementary and middle school basketball. He is also the head JV girls basketball coach at Elsie Allen High School. Brett married Caitlin in 2018. They have 3 children, Theodore, who is 3, and the twins, Jonathan and Benjamin, who are 9 months. I now present to you Mr. Brett Downey.
Well, looking back at this now, so many athletes have gone before me, and I look at what he wrote, what got wrote down for me, and I'm like, how did I make this? My stats weren't that. All team, all league, all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't a section champion or anything like that, and I'm honored that Bill Wade nominated me to be part of this Hall of Fame, and I'm honored for the committee, the committee for accepting my nomination and adding me on. I also want to thank my mom and dad. They really pushed me to be the best I could be. they never pushed me too far saying, you have to do this, you have to do this. It was more the, if you want to be this, you're going to have to do this, and go do it. But we're not going to make you do it. And I thank them for that, because that's made me who I am today. I want to thank Coach Edwards. He really inspired me in football. He took this skinny 6'6", maybe 200 pounds while wet, tight end, and decided, you know what, if you want to continue to play football at the next level, we're going to move you from tight end to offensive tackle. Take the summer, gain some weight, hit the gym, and we're going to put you at left tackle, and we'll go from there. And look where it took me to UCLA. I got a scholarship, and it's just an amazing, amazing thing, and I want to thank him for that. Jerry, Coach, he's over here, Jerry Rucker, Bill Wade, Rich Cathcart for basketball. You guys pushed me in the sport. I mean, I was played for 2 years, and my biggest thing was I want the rebound. That ball was going to be mine, and that effort paid off as I'm 632 was the number, something like that, and that was my goal. As a freshman, I came in thinking I'm going to beat that rebounding record, and that's what I did. I also want to thank Rob Slankard and Clay Carpenter. They were my freshman JV coaches. They taught me the game of basketball because I was nothing in junior high. Rob Slankard taught me what was called the blood and gut zone. The key was the blood and gut zone. Anyone who entered that key that wasn't on your team better get bloody, because they're not allowed in there. And that really defined how I wanted to play basketball as a physical, big guy that wanted to be in the paint and not on the three-point arc shooting threes like you see nowadays. I want to thank my wife for being here with our 3 kids there back at the hotel with Grandma and Grandpa, just crying away apparently as we got the last text. Yeah, like I said, I'm really proud and honored to be a part of this. When my dad entered the Hall of Fame in his high school, I told him, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get into the Hall of Fame class before you. Didn't work out. But I made it either way, but that was my whole life. My whole goal in high school was to make the non-existent at the time Hall of Fame, and that's how I played. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this.
Congratulations, Greg. Good job, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Downey, class of 2008. Our next inductee tonight is Emily Bergstrom Gwinnett, class of 1997. Emily played volleyball and basketball at Bret Harte. She was on varsity for 3 years for both sports. Emily also received the Scholar Athlete Award for a 3.5 GPA or higher all 4 years during her athletic seasons. After overcoming an ACL injury during her basketball sophomore season, Emily worked her way back and in volleyball was named the first team All-League in her junior and senior year. In basketball, she was voted the most valuable player in 1996 and co-MVP in 1997. She also was on the All-Selection team for Division IV. During Emily's 3 years on the varsity, her teams went 69-20 overall and 44-1 in league. Her basketball coach, Mike Lewis, stated that Emily had held herself to a standard of giving 100% effort every practice and game. Earning the respect of her teammates and coaches, Emily received a Lions Club Character Award in her senior season. Emily graduated from St. Mary's College in 2001 with a degree in health sciences. Emily and her husband own and operate business in Roseville now. She is very active in her church and on the leadership team and directing a homeless outreach program as well. Emily and her family have been running an annual nonprofit golf tournament in memory of her dad, Rick Bergstrom. The tournament helps raise funds for suicide prevention and mental health awareness. They have been running the tournament for the past 20 years. Emily is married to Chris. They have 2 children, their son Taylor and their daughter Elise. I know Emily would have loved to have been here tonight. She wasn't able to, but a round of applause tonight for Emily Bergstrom Gwinnett. And as you heard earlier on, Danielle's got plenty to say about Emily.
Wait, hold up, Jerry. I get the mic one more time. No, I'm going to accept this for Emily just really quickly. If you or anyone knows Emily, she made you feel like you were her best friend. I'm lucky enough to call her my best friend since we were little, but she exudes love, passion. She worked harder than anyone in the gym, both in basketball and volleyball, and she just is the best person, fun to be around, and a true teammate and leader. And she's just somebody that is a true inspiration from what she did while she was here to what she continues to do. She would thank her parents, Rick and Vicky, who they were like my second parents, and they coached basketball. My dad coached volleyball. We played softball. We did everything together. We spent every day together, drove to school every day together, and she's just a true inspirational person, and she deserves this more than anyone, and she just exudes love and true character, and is just devastated to not be able to be here. But we love you, Em, and congratulations.
God, I do that all the time. He told me, you turn it on, it's going to take 2 seconds. I don't listen. I've also been drinking. Emily Bergstrom, going up, everybody, one more time, please. All right, we have 2 more inductees left. Our first one tonight of those 2, Bill Wade, a friend of Bret Harte Athletics. Bill Wade has been an assistant basketball coach and volunteer at Bret Harte since 1992. He has helped in basketball all 30 years, coaching at all levels. In 2015, Bill was asked to be the head Frosh coach. There were times that Bill would come out to football practice and throw passes to receiver. He also ran the AAU program for the basketball team for numerous years, opening the gym and helping many athletes for both boys and girls. If there was a fundraiser, Bill would always offer his assistance. Bill is a 1965 graduate of Bret Harte. He played football, basketball, and tennis during high school in his times. He will always tell students that he was on varsity football teams that defeated Calaveras both years. Bill is married to Freddie, and they have 2 boys, Elijah and Skylar. And I have to be honest here, Bill was a coach with my father when I was in high school, and I told him earlier tonight, where is the tie that doesn't go down to your belly button? He said he almost wore it, but he didn't. He doesn't need it. He's a legend. Mr. Bill Wade, everybody.
I wrote a speech out here. I'd like to thank the athletic committee for this honor. I feel it's a great honor. I'd like to thank my friend Jerry Rucker for bringing me into Bret Harte Athletics. It's been my pleasure to be associated with some of the outstanding young men and women in our community for the last 30 years at Bret Harte High School. I wouldn't trade that for the world. I hope that I have given as much as they have given me in the past. Thank you.
Good job, Bill. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Wade. All right, we have a group in the back there that is ready for their recognition, and it is very well deserved. The 1980-1981 girls basketball team, everybody. Come on up, ladies. In 1980, Coach Edwards returned most of their team from the previous year's league championship team, but a first-round loss in the playoffs left them wanting more in the 1980-81 basketball season. The season opened with a win against Hillmar. Then they won the Sonora tournament and were the consolation champs at the Hillmar tourney. They finished the preseason with a 12-2 record. In league, Bret Harte ended up tied with Linden as both teams went 9-1. In the 2 games versus Linden, Bret Harte won the games 54-44, but lost the second game 45-39. In the 10 league games, Bret Harte outscored their opponents by a 28-point average. Now, it was off to the playoffs, and the opener was against Escalon, and the Lady Bullfrogs won 62-28. After that, they played Delta during the preseason. Bret Harte had defeated Delta 50-36. This game was closer, but Bret Harte still won 47-41. In the finals, Bret Harte led by Mimi Baker's 27 points, won the rubber match with a 56-49 victory. This was the end of the season as the NorCal playoffs started the next year. The 1980-81 girls basketball team finished the season with a 24-3 record. All league players included Mimi Baker as co-most valuable player. First team players were Rhonda Canepa and Patsy Davies. Other players on the team were Debbie Jones, Donna Stokes, Julia Fitzgerald, Melanie Strickler, Janelle Strohmeyer, Tracy Tyrell, Alicia Wallace, Ellen Ward. They all brought up for the playoffs, brought up for the playoffs were Shireen Cancia and Mary Harper, Karen McDaniel, and Ginger Ward. I feel like I've said her name before tonight. Unfortunately, during this past year, we lost Coach Jan Edwards. Can we please have a moment of silence for that real briefly? Thank you. Now to honor the 1980-81 girls basketball team, here is Debbie Jones Arteaga.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't practice holding that thing, so there we go. So as I said, I'm Debbie Arteaga, formerly Jones, and I'd like to say thank you on behalf of our entire team. We are all very excited about receiving this honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and maybe more so about being here tonight and getting together and seeing everybody again. It's so special. And we have 11 of the 14 team members here tonight, so that shows how enthusiastic we were to be here. It's been 41 years. Some days it feels like that, and other days it's like it was just last season. It's hard to believe that we're the only team that's won a section title out of Bret Harte, because there have been so many talented teams before us and behind us. Before I go on, I just want to acknowledge some of our folks that are no longer with us, and that is, first of all, our notorious leader, Miss Edwards. I can barely call her Jan, even to this day. She passed away almost a year ago, this month in Arizona. And if you read the comments left on her Facebook page at the announcement of her passing, you would read about all the things that she taught us that were not solely basketball skills. Things like leadership, integrity, work ethic, accountability, teamwork, dependability, the list goes on, that we would use off the court in our daily lives all the time. At the time, none of us knew that we were learning those things. But I've used those characteristics over the years and still do today as a wife and a mom and a grandma and an employee. And I'm sure most of my teammates are actually talking to them. We've been talking about that tonight, that we use those skills on a daily basis. So I'm very thankful for Jan's coaching. My daughter told me not to say and there I was. There we go. We also lost a dear friend, Donna Stokes. She passed away here in Angels Camp in 2010 after battling cancer. She was one of our team captains and a leader on and off the court, working hard on her skills and expecting us to do the same. And I'm happy to say that I know her mom, Linda, is with us tonight. Linda, I think you're over there. And she had a son, Kyle, and I don't know if Kyle, and a daughter, Erin. And Erin actually played basketball at Bret Harte also, and I know her mom was on the court with her every night. We were Jan's third team at Bret Harte, me and Alicia Fred Wallace, who couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted everybody to know that this team holds a special place in her heart and always will, and Donna. And we played for Jan all 3 of those seasons. We were the only seniors on the team. There were 8 juniors, and at the playoff time, we had 4 more sophomores that came with us. I remember during the playoffs that year that before each game, she treated us to breakfast before school at one of the local restaurants. And we all had carnations to wear on our lapels during the day at school before we left for our games. And she also gave us a little guardian angel pin, which I have to this day, and it was on my dresser, and I forgot to put it on tonight. But back then, I'm sure she paid for all of that out of her own pocket, because that stuff just wasn't budgeted in the athletic department, I'm sure. But she made us feel like we were pretty hot stuff and going to the playoffs and everything. Our game was pretty simple. We worked hard. We played a zone defense, but boy, could we shuffle better than any team out there. Our offense was 3 quick passes, and you got in trouble if you didn't do 3 quick passes. But that usually opens something up down low or out on the wing to Mimi. Get the ball to Mimi. Our team had chemistry that championship teams have. You see it when you're watching the Women's College World Series or baseball, football. When they talk to the team afterwards, they all say they couldn't have done it without each person on the team throughout the year. We were a deep team, and anyone could come off the bench and help when needed. We could joke about Rhonda's hair, how perfect it was before, during, and after every game. And Mimi's awesome shots, and Patsy and Janelle's ability to block out and rebound, or witness the giddiness of the sophomores when they joined us. And I have to backtrack, because when I first wrote this, I wrote Mimi's 3-pointers. And the more I was working on this, it was like, did we shoot 3-pointers? Did we have 3-pointers? And I was like, I tried to find the stats that she'd given us at the end of the year, and I couldn't find it. And I looked back there on the table back there, and it lists field goals and free throws. So it verified that we didn't. And I talked to Mimi, and she's like, no, we didn't have 3 points. So there was no 3-point arc on the floor when we played. But we know Mimi shot many 3-pointers. Talking about the chemistry, it was at one point in the season, though, that chemistry kind of came into jeopardy, and Jan realized it and helped us with that, too. Something had happened, and I can't even remember what it was, but I do remember that she put us all in the wrestling room, told us to figure it out, walked away, and shut the door. We were kind of in shock, because even a clean wrestling room during wrestling season stinks. So as the smell got thicker, our conversation quickly turned to the issue at hand, and we figured it out, got out of there as fast as we could. Jan was amazingly smart and taught us yet another lesson in conflict management and talking to each other. There were no group texts for us. To close, I don't think we were necessarily the most talented team, but somehow we won a championship working together. That's what I remember so much about this team. The lessons learned, the friendships made, even if we picked them up here again tonight after so many years, and the fun that we had. So thank you for thinking of us and inducting us into the Bret Harte Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 1980-1981 girls basketball team. So before you go, ladies, stay right there real quickly. Ron Lewis, not only a legend with Bret Harte, but the winner tonight of the 50-50 raffle and then dedicating it back. He had a request. He wanted each one of these ladies to tell us their name, who they are, real quickly. We need to appreciate that before we end this tonight. I'm going to take this microphone, pass it down the line, and you ladies tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm Ginger Ward Fleck.
I was Rhonda Canepa Menzies. Julie Fitzgerald. Mimi Baker.
Janelle Strohmeyer, and I can't help but tell you that I have PTSD because I missed 17 free throws in one of these games.
Shireen Cancilla. Melanie Strickler-Wilson.
Tracy Tyrell Rasmussen.
Ellen Ward Brinkman.
Patsy Davies Cutler.
Karen McDaniel.
Debbie.
A big round of applause for the 1980-81 girls basketball team, all the inductees tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And the confetti. As you leave tonight, I would like to say thank you to this year's generous sponsors. The gold sponsors include Big Trees Market, Signal Service, and Young's Payless IGA. The silver sponsors include Bales Construction, Clark Pest Control, Warren and Cheryl Harbor, and the Harper family, Ron and Diana Lewis, and Murphy's. Bronze sponsors Lake Tolvik Lions Club and Darlene Sanders and family. We would also like to thank the Athletic Hall of Fame Selection Committee, Cody and Tyra Drugmanovich, and the Bret Harte Boys Golf Program and the wonderful dinner service. Alyssa Follendorf and her culinary art students, they're the ones that provided the delicious desserts that you had tonight. Mrs. Phillips and the Bret Harte FFA Floriculture team, and the beautiful floral arrangement. Please take your table's floral arrangements home with you tonight to enjoy over the weekend. Amber Pape Photography, David Dugan for audio and video, the Friends of Calaveras County Fairgrounds for the bar. And remember, when we do this again in a couple of years, if you have somebody that you would like to nominate, please do so. Thank you for attending tonight, everybody. Drive home safely. Have a fantastic weekend.